Welcome to the Highland Park Spotlight. I'm your host, Keisha B, and we are here a little early today. But I am excited. My guest is on his way in, and it is going to be an awesome show, one that residents has asked me about for a very long time. So I do want to give some information in regards to the upcoming events first before we bring my guest on live. So the first thing I do want to bring up is that today is the day for coffee and conversations with Mayor McDonald. You can find her this morning in about an hour at 10 a.m. at the Dunkin' Donuts right here in Highland Park on Woodward. So there's two sessions. So there's the morning session at 10 a.m. and then there's also the 5 p.m. session this evening at Dunkin' Donuts. So please come out, see her, ask your questions, have an opportunity to really have a conversation with the mayor here in the city of Highland Park, Mayor McDonald, today for coffee and conversations. On October 16th, there is the council meeting. So if you have not signed up to subscribe to the YouTube channel, please do so in order to be able to watch those meetings online, right? So we switched over the platform from the Facebook to the actual YouTube channel. So that way we can streamline information a little bit better and it's easier to be found. So if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, you can do so by visiting the website www.highlandparkmi.gov, and in the upper right hand corner you will be able to find the link for YouTube, and that will take you directly to our YouTube channel. So on October 18th, there is the Planning Commission and the Housing Commission meetings. The Planning Commission meeting is at 5:30 p.m. and the Housing Commission is at 6 p.m. at Downs Manor. Now, also the Planning Commission, that meeting will be streamed live on YouTube. The Housing Commission meeting will not. It will be held in person at Downs Manor. The Recreation Commission meeting is on Thursday, October 19th at 6:30 p.m., which will also be streamed via YouTube. So YouTube is extremely important, and you definitely want to make sure that you subscribe to be a subscriber onto our new YouTube channel to be able to watch these meetings. Also, this is the month of festivities. So there's the Autumn Festival on Saturday, October 28th from 12 noon to 3 p.m. This will be held at the Ernest T. Ford Fieldhouse, 10 Pitkin and 3rd Avenue in Highland Park. It's free admission. They're selling $1 items. They also have free products and, great vendors. There also will be a contest. So bring a beautifully creative and non-evil, non-spooky designed real or imitation pumpkin, and you could win $25 up to $100 if yours is voted amongst the best, right? So you have an opportunity to win a prize. Also, there is the City of Highland Park Halloween trunk or treat, which will be October 31st at 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. That will be at the Ernest T. Ford Rec Center as well, 10 Pitkin, Highland Park. If you want to participate, please come out. Again, that is October 31st, 2023. It's the City of Highland Park partnered with the Fire Department, the Police Department, Shirley Girls Foundation of Love, the Zeta Phi Betas, and the Highland Park Old Timers. So this is going to be one huge trunk or treat here in the city of Highland Park. So thank you to all of those that's involved on that. Also, there is the after school program, which is held at the Ernest T. Ford Rec Center as well. This is Monday through Thursday from 3 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. September 18th was the start date, and this will go until December 15th. This is for the ages of 6 to 13 years old. There may be a fee applied for special programs, but you can always check to find out. That phone number is 313-580-3208. Again, this is the after school program, which is held at the Ernest T. Ford Rec Center by the City of Highland Park Parks and Recreation. There's also the Meet Up and Eat Up, which is at 5 p.m. for the children to be able to gather food that they need. So if you have children, small children at that could benefit from this program, please make sure that you sign them up. This will be a benefit to the City of Highland Park and also the children, because we want to make sure that we can keep resources like this within the city. So we need to take full advantage of them when they come our way. So the next event is on October 28th, the DEA National Take Back. So this where you can actually bring back all expired or unused medications, pills only, for safe disposal at the Highland Park Administrative Office on Hamilton. The date for that is October 28th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Please clear out all old medications, bring them out so we can dispose of them properly. This will be at 13233 Hamilton Avenue in Highland Park. This event is anonymous, so you don't need to sign in. You don't need to show your ID. If there's any medications that's being left in your home that are unused, that is expired or anything like that, please bring them out so that they can be properly disposed of. So we are going to take our first commercial break for the morning, and when we come back, I have my guest. We'll see you soon.
Is arthritis, rheumatism, inflammation holding you back? Even ladies' menstrual cycle pain? Order Hurt No More. It's all natural and it works fast. Go to 86pain.com.
You know, I played in the NFL back in the 60s. We could have used Hurt No More after every game. I could have used something to relieve my pain.
If you've got pain, I've got the answer. Hurt No More. Wherever the pain is, it'll grab it fast.
86 to Pain. Go to 86pain.com.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
Back to the Highland Park Spotlight. I'm your host, Keisha B, and today I have Mr. Damon Garrett in studio with me today, and it's so awesome to have you here. For those who don't know who he is the director of MCA, who is actually over the water department. Am I correct? That is correct. Okay, so what I need you to do is pull this mic closer. Okay. Well, I'm gonna help you get together while we doing this.
All right, thank you.
All right, so as the director of MCA, what does MCA actually stand for, and what are your backgrounds?
So MCA stands for Metro Consulting Associates.
Okay.
And MCA was established in 2009, so I was employee number 5. So
okay.
I started as a project manager and worked my way up to the president. So over the last 14 years, I've been able to work hard and have the opportunity to progress. I was project manager, director of operations, and now the president of the company.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That is amazing. So how long has MCA and Highland Park, that partnership, been established?
It seems like 20 years. So our partnership with Highland Park started back in 2014.
Okay.
So we're almost coming up on 10 years. We responded to an RFP that the city put out to have an engineering department. They said, hey, we need an engineer. So we put together this packet, went to city council, and at the time, Kathy was there.
Okay.
And she basically said, no, you guys are not doing this.
Wow.
But that was a good thing. But that was a
Okay.
very good thing. She called me after that council meeting and said, I want you to help me with something else. And at the time, the city was involved in a lawsuit with MDOT.
Okay.
So that's actually how we got to the city, not in the water department capacity, but to help the city to win that lawsuit. And so that was about stormwater. So we got involved with that back in 2014. We drafted a stormwater ordinance for the city. There wasn't one from scratch. We went and kind of redid the sewer bill, and that's kind of, and then that was a year. So that was 14 to 15.
Okay.
And then in 15, we actually became the water department. So
Wow.
so we submitted to become the city engineer, but we were the only bid. So the reason they threw it out is they didn't want to award it to one contractor, so they just threw it out. But she called me shortly after that, and it's been history since then. It's been in the books.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know it started off with the MDOT, that situation with the MDOT. So
Right.
that's information for me. And I'm pretty sure information for the residents. So there's been a lot of things, right, that has taken place over the years, many of which residents say they have no knowledge of, right? So I do understand that some residents aren't able to gather information as quickly as others, right?
Right.
Can you briefly describe some of the successes that you've had regarding assisting with the structure here in Highland Park?
Oh, that's a very good question. So I'm going to take you back to 15, 16, and the situation that the city was in at the time was they had a contractor that was doing billing, and it was happening every quarter. So that people are only receiving bills like 3 to 4 times a year, and their names weren't on the bills. So
Wow.
yeah, and the bill said estimate. So it said resident and estimate. That's what the situation we came into was. So we had to literally go reestablish the relationship with the people who were in the city at the time. So basically we had myself, a lot of people know Jarian Bradley, who works in the water department. I mean, we talked for hours and hours and hours with residents on our cell phones, building those relationships. So that's how, so a lot of that, a lot of people, we built those relationships and they became privy to information.
Right.
But then, as you know, Highland Park is transient. So, that was almost 7, 8 years ago, right? So it's a new group of people here. So I do understand that maybe some of the newer people, we don't have those relationships because things have been running smoothly. And so that's kind of how information was being disseminated then. We met people face to face. They came down to the water department. We talked to almost every customer out there.
Wow.
And that's how the information was initially pushed out.
Okay.
It's been a little bit more difficult over the last few years because it's a lot of different group of people. There's a lot of land for sale. There's a lot happening. So we haven't been able to develop those personal relationships like we did back in the day. But we always say, I mean, we have some wonderful clerks at the water department. Come down to the water department. People come down there, they give me messages, call so-and-so, you need to take care of this, you need to talk to this person about their bill, you need to do that. So, I mean, you can always come down to the water department and get information. There's information at the department, in the customer service center right there for people to get. And I would just say come down there. We've also tried to share some information through town halls. This is our third administration, so we had 2 back-to-back, and then now we're in this one. So, which I know in this administration, the communication is a lot broader than it had been, but we used to do some of that communicating at town hall, and maybe a few years ago we used to be able to speak at council a little bit more, and that would help people a lot because a lot of residents come to the council meetings and they would meet us after the meeting. but we haven't been able to do that as much with just kind of what's the dynamic that's been going on at the council. But a few years ago, we were able to talk regularly with people either before the meeting and after the meeting, and make more presentations during the meeting. So that we would be sharing information all those ways.
Wow. Okay. So as you brought up the idea of billing, right? So I know that there was some residents that asked the question, so how is it that the billing works? Because I don't understand, Also, they've seen there was some that saw maybe an increase in their bills. So how does the billing work here for the residents in the city of Highland Park?
So just at the very simplistic piece of it, the billing is based on units of water used.
Okay.
Okay. So, if you use 2 units of water, then you get billed for 2 units of water, right?
How big is a unit?
7.48 gallons.
7.48 gallons.
Yeah.
That's a unit, y'all. So if you wondering, well, how many units? How much is that? So I wanted to ask that question because I got asked and I said I don't know. So
wait, let me say. I think it's 748. 7.48 is the conversion from a cubic foot to a gallon. So I think it's 748 gallons of water.
748 gallons.
Yeah,
that's a lot of water.
That is.
That's a lot of water.
But if you think about it, I think the average use is around 100 gallons a day. So if you add up, showers, toilet flushing, all of that cumulatively adds up. So that's so at the base of it is it's units of water, and then there's a rate associated with that.
Okay.
And then that's technically how your bill is calculated. I think where a lot of people have questions or don't understand is the stormwater piece, because the bill has 3 components: the water portion, the sewer portion, and the drainage portion. And the drainage portion is the one that people just cannot seem to get their head wrapped around, and that they really don't like. There'll be people that have vacant lots. And say, why am I getting a bill for a vacant lot for runoff? I don't see any water running off my lot, right? So we get a lot of questions on that, and it gets kind of technical because the most of the sewer in Highland Park is combined. So that means when it rains, it goes into the sewer, and when I use my dishwasher, when I take a bath, that also goes into the same pipe.
Okay.
So we get billed. The city gets billed. We purchase water right now from Great Lakes Water Authority, and we get billed from them. And the part of our bill is the sewer, but it's broken into 2 pieces: it's drainage and sewer.
Okay.
So people, so like for example, in July, people will say, "Well, why am I getting billed for runoff? It's not even raining. Like I shouldn't be getting a bill, right? That doesn't make any sense to me."
Right.
Which we've said, that is accurate. But then in October through the spring, where it's raining a lot, it runoff is happening. So what happens is it ends up averaging out, right? So you have dry days and you have wet days. So the drainage and the runoff is what really we get the most questions on. So to circle back to your question, the bills, they go out once a month. It's based on your water usage. That's a part of your bill.
Okay.
And your sewer usage is a part of your bill, and drainage is the other part of your bill.
Okay. And the stormwater runoff.
Yeah.
That's the portion that goes into the sewer.
Yeah, from the sky. So the rain, what comes off the lot and over the curb and gets into the catch basin and goes into the sewer, that's the stormwater runoff.
All right, so we got a little bit of clarity on that, y'all. I just wanted to make sure I did that specifically for my residents here in Highland Park, because I know that's a question that I was asked. And, that's why I said I got to get Damon on the show, because I don't know, and this is one of the bases that a lot of people watch here, know. And so having you on the show to clear that up kind of helps them, and it also helps me. So as of right now, you guys are working on Oakland.
Yes.
Y'all doing this huge project on Oakland to, I don't want to call it a repavement, because you guys been digging up the street over there. Right. So what's the proper term?
So, Oakland is actually a resurfacing project.
Resurfacing, okay.
Right. So as long as we've been in Highland Park, there hasn't been really any road work. It's all been water, all these water projects. But Oakland is one of the first major resurfacing projects that has happened in the city. So there's two types of things. There's reconstruction, so we dig everything up and put everything back new, right?
Right.
Resurface, in theory, is we just take off the base level of asphalt. So what we're driving on, there's usually two layers. There's the top where our wheels from our car is on, and then there's another layer of asphalt right underneath that. And if we take both of those off, there's aggregate there, right?
Okay.
So Oakland's the resurfacing. So basically, we just milled off all that asphalt. So it's like 3-4 inches of asphalt milled off, and then it's being put back, and that we call those resurfacing projects.
Okay.
And then there was some sidewalk, but we ran into some train tracks out there, which was crazy.
Oof.
And it's kind of delayed. The project actually was supposed to be completed maybe about a month ago, but those train tracks, the contractor said, well, I don't want to pave over these train tracks. Like, what do I do? So we've been going back and forth with them and MDOT on what do we do about those tracks. So basically, we're going to end up paving over them anyway. But we had to put some more stone and do some more treatment that wasn't in the bid. So we've been trying to work through the contractor, through the state of Michigan, and that's kind of why that project's drawn out. So we got Oakland, that's South Oakland,
Right.
and we got North Oakland on the other side of Davison, right, which is designed. So what's happening on the south side, when that's done, the same thing is going to happen on the north side from Davison all the way to 6 Mile.
Oh, that's good.
And we've got the service drives will be done as well next year.
So my voice, come on now. So there's the Oakland project over by the plants on the opposite side of Davison, and then the service drives.
Yep.
Y'all about to have some brand new streets out here. So what is the slated time slot for Oakland right now that to finish?
It should be in the next couple of weeks. They're trying to get it done because the plants actually close on November 15th. So we've really only got like 30 days left to get the job done, because that's when they stop producing asphalt, because the temperature goes down below 40 degrees. We can't get the asphalt to set up. So asphalts usually run from like April, the middle of April, to the middle of November. So that's the asphalt paving season. So, but if you get some warm days, climate change and all that, sometimes they'll extend the plant open longer. But that ambient temperature has to be above 40 degrees in order for us to pave. So,
Okay.
so when it starts going down, like in the morning when it's like 30 and then it's only getting up to like 41, that's the danger zone when it comes to asphalt, because asphalt is it's an oil-based type of thing. It's heat. A lot of heat is involved in that. So we can't do it when it's cold because it won't set up and form correctly.
So the other side of Oakland is set to start next year around what time?
So I'm not sure on the timing on that. I know we finished the design drawings on it.
Okay.
There's also Manchester as well right here that is in pretty bad shape. So I'm not really sure, because what happens is they do a round of funding. So we have to go do these projects, and then we kind of put them in the lottery, and then they get picked. So right now, the other side of Oakland is rated higher, but I'm not sure if it's going to happen in 24, 25, but then Manchester might happen in 24. So
Got it.
So basically what you need to know is there's going to be projects this year, and it's going to be projects next year, and it's going to be projects the year after that.
Y'all heard that, right? So there's going to be projects. This project should be finished within the next few weeks or so.
Correct.
As far as Oakland. Then there's the project for the other side of Oakland, possibly 24, possibly 25. Manchester, possibly 24.
Right.
And then the service drives.
Right. And you know what? There's also, Mary's going to get me if I don't talk about this. Stevens, Farron Park, and there's one other street. Those three, we did get estimates from contractors. That was one of the things he said, you must get that done.
All right.
So that is in motion. Those streets will be getting paved in the spring of next year.
What streets were those
Fair
again?
Park, Stevens, and I think Winona.
Oh, that's great.
Those are the three.
Those were some of the problem streets.
She
They got
told me.
sinkholes.
Yeah. She's been on my head
call
about
them-
those streets, especially Stevens, because we got some business owners over there that says they're impacted by the road. So, one of the things that we've been talking about, because some of the roads are in such bad shape, is basically pulverizing them and turn them into gravel roads temporarily. Now, I know that might sound crazy, but if you think we have a road with all these potholes in it and you bouncing around, so pulverized, we come in and we crunch up the pavement, right? We fill in the holes with aggregate, and then we smooth it out. So you have a smooth surface. It's not asphalt surface, but you pulverize what's there in place, and it gives you a smoother driving surface, so you're not tearing up your cars. So that's a temporary fix. Obviously, you would like to pave the road, but when you start talking about funding, all of those things, that's something that we've been doing. We've been considering in Highland Park, but we've been also talking about that in some other communities that we work in, is a way to smooth the road out, because ultimately people don't want to tear up their cars, right?
Right.
Bottom out, new rims, all
Man.
of that. So yeah, so I think if you can understand that, people say, well, gravel road, we don't want a gravel road, but actually, you'll be surprised that if you pulverize that road and you add some stone to it and you shape it out, that it's a lot smoother than driving down holes and patches. You patch the street, then the patch sinks in. It's just not smooth. Ultimately, the residents want a smooth driving experience.
Right.
So I just want to throw that out there so people who are listening, those are
That's
some things that we've
it's
been
not
talking
a
about.
bad thing, because I've done, especially in my travels, I like to drive, y'all. I'm that person that will jump in a car and just take a road trip at any given time. And there's a lot of communities, especially down south, to where it's gravel roads, to get to their homes and whatnot. So it's not necessarily a bad idea. I just think because it's such a different idea that maybe some of the residents may be like, I don't know about that, but looking at it from that perspective and using it as a temporary solution until we're able to actually pave the roads might not be so bad.
Yeah,
right.
we might, if we can.
Your mic right here.
Okay. I'm not used to this TV thing, so she's gonna keep me right. But we might try to do a pilot, like a block. We find a block, maybe it's one that doesn't have a lot of homes on it, just to do that, just to get people on that to see what it's like, so they're not afraid of it. It's not. I mean, as being a professional engineer, I wouldn't be recommending something if I didn't think that it was a viable option, right? But I just think that, and the other benefit about that is once you do that, when you do get the funding to come in, you can put the asphalt right down on that, right? So it's smooth.
Oh, okay.
Right, and so then you're just putting the asphalt down. So, a road is aggregate and then asphalt, just like we were talking about Oakland. That was we replacing the asphalt. But if what we're talking about is shaping a road and basically prepping it for asphalt, it's almost like phase one is we're going to get the aggregate down, we're going to smooth it out, and phase two, we're going to come back with the asphalt. So I just want people to, I want to put it out there so people can know, and we want to fix the streets, but obviously we've got a lot of roads to repair. And we didn't years ago, the administration said, hey, we got all this infrastructure, we don't want to we don't want to fix the road and then come back and have to do the infrastructure.
Right. So,
but then now we're kind of in a situation where we've replaced about 20% of the water main now. So there's 60 miles in the city, which is about 11 to 15 miles we've replaced. So now we're starting to get in that place where we need to start paving these roads, because before it was like, well, we got to replace all the main. Well, okay, so now that you've replaced the main, now we got to see these roads getting replaced. So we've heard that, we understand that, we didn't forget about that, and that's something that's high priority. And I know it was something that was high on the mayor's priority even before she became the mayor. She told me, like, these roads need to be fixed. This
Absolutely.
is ridiculous.
So you mentioned something as far as the infrastructure,
Okay.
but we're going to definitely dive into that, but we got to take a commercial break.
Okay.
But I want to come back and speak on the infrastructure here in Highland Park, because that's been the main thing, especially with the Great Lakes Water Authority, right? So was dealing with our infrastructure. So when we come back, I'm definitely going to talk to him about this because this is one of the main things that we need to discuss, right? So you have been watching the Highland Park Spotlight. I'm your host, Keisha B, and we will return right after this commercial break.
The Detroit Water and Sewerage Department is looking for motivated Detroiters to be a part of our team. We have opportunities for field services technicians, engineers, and customer service specialists with competitive pay and benefits. Make a real difference with the work you do every day. Join other Detroiters who are taking part protecting the pipes where we live, work, and play. Learn more and apply at detroitmi.gov/jobs. DWSD, working hard for you. At the Detroit Water and Sewerage Department, we're working hard to protect pipes by cleaning public sewer lines to reduce flooding and speeding up the replacement of lead service lines. Protect your pipes with 3 easy tips. Pour grease into containers, toss wipes in the trash can, and check for running toilets, leaky pipes, and dripping faucets. For more tips, go to detroitmi.gov/protect pipes. DWSD, working hard to protect pipes for you.
Muscles, joints, or feet tired, achy, or distressed? Tried everything? Ringmaster Rubbing Oil is a vintage topical pain reliever, trusted for over 70 years, with a rich formula for the treatment of stubborn aches and pains. Packaged in a glass bottle for purity, our liquid can also be used in warm water for foot soaks and compresses. A little goes a long way. Try our time-tested formula, available in several sizes.
Make a donation to WHBR-TV and receive 2 2-ounce bottles of Ringmaster Rubbing Oil for $25. Call 313-868-6612.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
Welcome back to the Highland Park Spotlight. I'm your host, Keisha B, and I have Damon Garrett. I was about to call you your last name first.
That's cool. It's all the same person.
The president of the MCA here, who is over our water department, and we've been having a great conversation. So if you've missed the first half of the show, I am so sorry. You're going to have to catch it on replay, right? It'll be on the Highland Park YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure that you do so you can catch up. But I wanted to talk about infrastructure, right? That's a huge topic when it comes to the city of Highland Park. Reason being is because we've been back and forth for the past 10 years dealing with a situation as far as our water with the Great Lakes Water Authority, right? And let me ask you this question first. What does a sustainable water infrastructure look like?
In Highland Park?
What does that look like? And then we're going to backtrack and talk about what it is now.
So I would say what sustainable infrastructure looks like in Highland Park is like what it used to be. Many years, go back to 2012, where Highland Park had control. And, there's a lot of conversation about the plant and rightfully so, but that symbolizes control of your system, which means control of your billing, which means control of the water that you produce daily, the water that you push out into the system. So sustainable to me means in control. And right now, we are not in control. We have not been in control since 2012, which is when the state of Michigan said you need to shut the plant down. So that's kind of when we lost control.
Okay.
And that's kind of when that was the beginning of where we are right now. The beginning of the battle started back in 2012 when our plant was shut down. And that's, and I think there's several communities across the state that are fighting the same battle. Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily us versus them. It's just, the economics of the city, the people in the city, if they're running their own facility, those rates, those things are going to reflect the people of the city. When it's being provided to you from somewhere else, you don't have as much of a voice or a choice. We have to take water from GLWA. We have no other option.
Right.
So whatever they say it is, it is.
Yeah.
That's why we're in this battle right now.
Okay. So our infrastructure now, because we have no control, and there's been a lot of talks about Highland Park and how we have so many leaks, right, in our system. So how many leaks do we actually really have, and how much water does our water system lose typically each year? Okay.
So I can't give you a 100% accurate answer, which is part of the basis of the lawsuit. Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so I'll just say it's been talked about that Highland Park is losing 50% of the water that comes to the border. So just for example, let's just say GLWA provides 3 million gallons to where we receive water. So at our border, what's been out there is that of that 3 million gallons, we're losing 50% of it through the pipes. And then what happens is the customers say, well, I'm being charged for that. Why am I being charged for the leak? I'm not even using the water, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's park that there. In order to really figure out what leaks we have or we don't have, we need a meter. We need a master meter. We need to meter. Our community needs to be metered for a couple reasons. Because they meaning GLWA says, hey, you're using this amount of water, this amount of water's leaked. How do you know? How do we know? We don't have a meter. Normally what happens is the water comes into a meter. Mm-hmm. It's read there. That information is disseminated to everybody, and then it goes into the system. So then if 3 million gallons goes out and 1.5 gallons are being sold, this is from a meter, then you just do the math. And then, then you figure out that, hey, I've got leaks in the system, and then you go pinpoint where those leaks are, and then you repair the system. But right now, there's a bunch of hearsay out there about you're leaking, you're using this. Well, nobody will really know until we put a master meter in the ground, and then we're measuring the water. So then that keeps GLWA accountable, and then all the residents that say I'm being charged this, that, and the other, we can address that. Now we got under an administrative consent order back in 2017 for leaks. Okay. And what Eagle said, which is the Department of Great Lakes Water and Energy or Energy Environment, something like that. I don't really know. I just call them Eagle, EGLE.
Right.
They put us in a consent order for having leaky water mains. Okay. And their mandate was replace all the water main. That was in 17. So that's what we've been working on since 17. And our rebuttal to that was, great. How do we do that? Where do we get the money to do that? We don't have money to do that. We can only replace about a mile, if that, a year. I mean, we have 60 miles. They basically said, hey, you need to replace 60 miles of your water main to address the leaks. Wow. So we've replaced, like I said earlier, about 12 miles we started like 18, 19. We've been doing water projects every year. We're going to continue doing water projects every year. But that is how we're going to be able to reduce. But we can't measure. So we replaced all that water main. Mm-hmm. But how do we know that we reduced the leaks? Because we can't measure. Now, if we were measuring, if we were metering water and then we had a water main project for 24 and said we're going to go out and replace 5 miles of water main, then we would be able to see, well, we replaced 5, so there shouldn't be any leaks with the brand new water main, right? So
Right.
you would think that if you have measured water, that now we can see the reduction in the leaks. So then that means that there's reduction in the leaks, then there should be a reduction in the bill, because there would be a reduction in usage, which all would be passed along to the customer. So we can't really get to the bottom of that until we get this meter, which right now, the city administrator and the legal staff, they're debating this right now with GLEWA, and we're hoping that we're going to have a resolution early fall, and one of the first things that's going to be done is getting that master meter in the ground. So we're hoping that next year that we will be under construction putting a new master meter in the ground so that we can start measuring water, and so we can stop all this hearsay about they want the bill to be this and you're using this and this leaking this. Well, we're going to put that in the ground, and then we're going to start figuring that out.
Yeah, because that's the main thing, right?
And they charge. They charge the residents. They charge the city for that, because they don't care if the water leaks. It's not like, oh, if you use the water, then you get. They said, hey, the water comes to this point into your city, however many gallons that is, and you're getting charged for that. So as the water department, obviously, we want to go and eliminate the leaks, because those leaks the people are paying for those leaks. That's the reality of it. They are. We don't want them to pay for it, but they are. So what we're trying to do is be aggressive and get all this water main fixed. So we're not, because if you use 100 gallons and you get charged for the 100 gallons, but you really only used 35, I mean, you want to get charged for 35,
Right.
Not for 100.
Not for 100.
That's going in the ground, right? So
Right.
that's a lot of residents have really been upset about that, maybe really don't understand what that means. So hopefully, people understand there is a resolution to it. They're not just being charged with the leaks because we want to. We're being held to that standard because that's the water that's coming into our system, and they don't care if you're using it or not. They're charging us for it. So in order to figure out what that is, we get that meter in the ground, then we prioritize where these improvements need to be made. And because right now we've just been making improvements.
Okay.
But with the meter in the ground, then we can say we need to replace the water main over here because it's leaky. More leaky than the water main over here. I mean, it's all leaking, but we want to, the area where it's leaking the most, we want to do that first.
Right.
And right now, we kind of just been going down the consent order, just replacing water main, but with the meter in place, then we can start prioritizing, pinpointing, and getting more aggressive at fixing the leaks.
Okay. Yeah, because I know the lines here are old, right?
1920. 1920.
That old. I knew they were old, but since 1920 they haven't been replaced.
Right, since they just started getting replaced in 17. So you got 11 new miles that started in 17, and everybody else is very old.
Since Henry Ford?
Yes, right. Yes, since Henry Ford, exactly. Can you believe that? Yes, that's how old it is.
Since Henry Ford, these lines have not been replaced.
So think about that for a minute. So
that's mind blowing.
But would you think that a system that's over 100 years old would not be leaking just a little bit? It should be just a little bit. The design life, the average design life for a water main is 50 years. So it's twice over, 2 times. So you got, like, you've lived, this water main in the ground has lived 2 lives. That's how old it is. So yes, it is leaking because it's over 100 years old.
Wow.
116 years old.
Ooh,
so in perspective, I mean, even, a lot of this, I mean, I know you're probably not going to wouldn't talk about it, but, there was this whole thing about lead, because when we came, we went into that action level exceedance back in 18, right? We had the press conference. I don't think you were here at the time.
No.
Well, Highland Park's water is bad. We got lead in the water. People were going crazy, right? So we go through this. We go through these tests. We do these tests. And every year we have to do them twice a year, and then we have to turn these results in. And you have certain limits, so many parts per billion that you can have of lead, and then when it's over so many parts per billion, then you get a violation, and then you have to have filters and all that. So we had that one violation, but people don't talk about this. We haven't had another violation, and they put us on probation, and so they had all the news outlets were here, press conference, the whole nine. So we went on probation for 2 years. We have not had a lead action level exceedance since then.
Wow.
In this 100-year-old Maine.
That's huge.
It is huge, and people don't know that, right? Is it safe to drink my water? I mean, I would say, look, for the water main to be over 100 years old and to have that one action level exceedance and not have another one since then, I think that's okay.
That was what?
That's
20?
18. It's been 5 years.
That's excellent.
And so we're supposed to do 20 tests every 6 months. So when we got on probation, we had to do 60. So they tripled it because they're like, well, hey, if you got this lead in the system, then you need to be testing more. So they put us through that probation. 2 years we went through, killed it, no violations, and here we are. So I mean, people. I'm just saying all to say is, you're in a 100-year-old system. It's bad, but it's not all the way down bad.
Right.
It's not. So there's areas that are worse. So I don't know, people like, I don't care, my bill is high, I'm scared, but I'm just trying to give them some perspective on it's not really as bad as people would lead you to believe.
Right. Okay. So I'm still mind blown at the fact that this thing is 100 years old. So as of right now, there's 60 miles of piping under the city.
Yep.
11 miles have been
replaced. Yep.
So the funding to replace more of the infrastructure, is that trickled in, or how does that work? Or do we have to go out for another grant?
Okay,
because
I like that.
60 miles and we got 11, that's huge. That's still good.
Yeah.
But this is 100-year-old infrastructure. How do we get more funding? What's the process? How do we get this taken care of?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you that we told the state that we're tapped out on loans, because they were like, well, we understand you're on this administrative consent order. You need to replace all this main. And we were like, how do you do that? And we said that because we take out a loan and we have to pay it back over 30 years. And you're talking about projects that are, water main is like $1.7 million a mile to replace. Whew. So, you're talking about, do the math on the remaining 49, 50 miles, you're talking about $70 million, right?
Right, yeah.
We don't have 70 mil. So what with the last 2 years is we said no more loans because we're tapped out. We need grants. So last year Highland Park got $14 million grant to replace the water main, about 7 miles, right?
Right.
This year, it hasn't been final, but $17 million grant has been awarded to Highland Park. So so your question is we have been aggressively, I mean, we probably write 30 million, at least $30 million of grants apply for every year. So we don't get all of those, but the only way that we're going to get it back is grants, because every time we take a loan, I have to go back to the ratepayers and I have to increase the rates. So if I want to go get a loan to replace 10 miles of water main, I have to go to council. I have to come to the residents and say, I have to raise your rates $1, $2, whatever it is, to be able to recoup that loan that we're gonna go borrow. Right? That's how that
works. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, they'll give us the 20 million, right? And then I'll have to take our rates up to offset the cost and the interest. That's how that works. So we don't really want to go to the residents and raise the rates, right? Because the residents have been paying their bills and it's been wonderful, believe it or not. We need grants. We need to hear. We know it's bad, go fix it.
Right. Yeah. Whew. and this is left me speechless because you never really understand the true process, right? Unless you actually talk to someone like this to get an understanding. So I'm hoping that the residents that are watching have a little bit more understanding of how the water department actually works, how their billing works. And I know that they've mentioned that their bill went up.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give them a little bit of understanding as to why that may have happened?
Well, I'm not really sure because we haven't raised the rates in, I don't know, the last time we took about 3 years. So
Okay.
I don't know what that, I don't know, and I don't know, to be honest with you. But I would say, come down to the water department. We can look at that. I just know for a fact I haven't raised the rates because if I do raise the rates, I have to go in front of council and the residents and ask for permission to raise the rates or notify.
Unlike some companies,
it has to happen, right? So we haven't done that. So
Right.
I'm not sure, but we would the portion I think what they might be talking about is I know that as part of the lawsuit, the way that we were calculating stormwater, we had to change our methodology. We were following Detroit in the beginning with percent impervious, and we put people into categories.
Okay.
And it came back that we can't put people in categories. It has to be exactly what you're doing on your lot. So it's like, if you're between 0 and this, you would get this rate. If you're between this and this. So they came back and said, no, you can't do that. It needs to be specific to every lot. Whatever runoff is being generated from each lot, it has to be calculated uniquely. It cannot be put into a category of percentages. So that impacted the stormwater. But that was a couple years back. So maybe that might be what people are talking about. But I know for a fact that the water rates, we have not increased those. Okay. So that could be slightly what they're talking about. But please come down to the water department and talk to our people, and whatever questions you have, we'll do our best to answer them and explain to you the bill. I mean, a lot of I remember people say, I don't even know how to read the bill.
Yeah.
Come down and they will walk you through the bill. There's things on the bill that you need to understand so that you know what you're paying. I mean, if you're paying for something, you don't want to just go pay it.
Right.
I mean, and I would even tell you some of our seniors, we look at their water usage and then they have a leak on their toilet or whatnot. Mm-hmm. We can see that in the middle of the night. And we know, and those people just come down and they just write a check, right? And they just pay their bill. But you look at those units that they use, because everybody has a profile. Mm-hmm. So if you usually use 2 units and then all of a sudden you're using 6 units, and then you look at when they were and you're using 6 units at 4 a.m., we know you weren't doing that. And if it's one senior in the house, we know they weren't using that. So we've credited people's bill no, we're not. You need to get a leak, get a plumber, we'll credit your bill. So I mean, if there's something on the bill you don't understand, please come down.
Okay. So last question, right? Because we got 3 minutes, but last question. Knowing that MCA is over the water department, what is one of your major goals that you want to have before, over the next couple of years? What's one of the major goals?
One of my major goals would be I want to continue to expand the customer assistance programs. I know right now it's been really good the last several months. Wayne Metro's got a lot of money, and people get on this shutoff list. But then what we've worked out with Wayne Metro is they ask for a copy of the shutoff list, and then when they get the shutoff list, then they reach out to those people and they say, "Come down here, we got money, we can help you." You owe $400, $300, $7,000. They have money, so just building the customer assistance programs, because as long as we're getting water from GLWA. Like you asked the question, we have a lack of control. So if we're gonna have a lack of control, we need to have more support. So my goal is to continue to, there's thaw assistance, there's Wayne Metro, is to get as many assistance programs for the city and make sure people know about those and can take advantage of those. That would be one of my main goals. Because some of the stuff we can't control, but getting more programs and communicating that and having people take advantage of that, we can. And that would be one of my goals, is to increase that participation.
Awesome. And for those that are watching that may not have the phone number, that can't get to it, could you give the phone number for the water department?
Oh my goodness! I knew you were gonna ask. I should be shocked. I don't even know what it is. Hold on. Do you know what it is, Kalan? Why did you ask that? We did all these questions. Oh my goodness.
I stumped him. He don't even know the number to the water department.
Yeah, I do, but I don't. I'll get it to y'all. Hold on just a second.
That's so funny.
No, it's not funny. I knew you were gonna ask that, but
All right, so we got the president of MCA,
right,
who's able to give me and break down all the information. But when it comes to the phone number, come on, girl, just come on. When it comes to literally the number.
Okay, y'all. Don't look. I apologize for that.
All right.
Do. The number is 313-865-1876.
All right. So you have been watching the Highland Park Spotlight. If you have questions in regards to your water bill, need assistance, or want to talk to someone directly to get an understanding, please go to the water department, get a number one more time, or call.
Okay. 313-865-1876.
All right. And so I hope that watching this show today, you have a little bit of clarity, a little bit more understanding, and you have been watching the Highland Park Spotlight. I'm your host, Keisha B, and we are signing off for the day. See you soon.